Turn the vacuum back on.
Oh my god, it's like this is literally like opening a can of pickles.
Hey Craig, I thought you said you were going to the gym.
No, I got it!
Ah, yeah.
I got it! Ligma!
No pen, make that pen.
The ketchup bottle.
All right, guys, getting back on the crew cab and ready to put this engine in finally. So if you didn't see the last video on us actually building this thing, I highly recommend watching it. Before and after on this thing is absolutely wild. So I'll put a little before shot of what this thing looks like. You can see the entire process. Definitely check out the link. I'll have a tag up here as well as down in the description. It is well worth a watch, and this thing looks absolutely stunning. So full revamp on the 390 FE that came out of this thing, and we're gonna put it in the truck. It's got a full Sniper EFI system that we gotta hook up, and we are gonna get jamming. So first thing of business, we gotta go ahead and get this thing up in the air, get our McLeod system hooked up on the back, and then we're gonna go ahead and get the bell housing and the transmission, which are all over here freshly painted, and all that stuff needs to go together and make its way in back in the truck. So should be a lot of heavy moving equipment, so let's get into it. All right, so the first thing we're gonna start off with is the McLeod setup. So this is a full setup for this truck, specifically spec'd out to tow. So I'm gonna show you guys the difference between a regular setup and the McLeod one. So this is the Street Pro. So this is similar to what you would see in a lot of regular, passenger vehicles or basic hot rods. It's a single disc, 10 spline, very simple, and it works. I had this in my F100 back when it didn't make a lot of power, and it worked great. This is the perfect setup for like a daily driver. The spring isn't super hard. The clutch feel, the pedal feel is gonna be really nice. We are still running a Z-bar on this thing, so I didn't want something that's gonna be super stiff and super heavy. Yes, that's a bushing. So these things run a bushing. It's a solid bushing on this. So we'll put that back in. So yeah, there's the fresh friction disc. This thing will go together perfectly. But yeah, nice simple single disc. I'll put the part numbers and everything for this clutch down in the description if you want to check it out. The thing that's significantly different about this setup versus other ones is the flywheel. So what a lot of people are used to is running a flywheel that's lightweight. You want to make it super rev happy and everything else. This is the opposite. This thing is a weighted flywheel. It's heavier. So this is a 40-pound flywheel, and it shows it. Here it's pretty heavy. Oh my gosh. So yeah, very heavy, very thick. And the best thing about this, and the reason we're running this is a tow truck. It's supposed to be something that'll tow. And the nice thing about having a weighted flywheel is you're talking about moment of inertia and momentum here. And you want as much weight spinning as you can, because if you have a lightweight setup, it's easier to stall. If you have 10,000 pounds behind the truck, you don't want to be worrying about stalling it. So what this will do is create a ton of momentum and a ton of inertia to where when I let the clutch out, the motor's not gonna want to stall, it's gonna want to go. So the nice thing about this is you will not have to worry about, basically in any gear, I can let the clutch out and it's gonna go wherever that RPM's at. It's not gonna rev drop a lot when I let the clutch out. It's gonna want to pull, it's gonna want to tow well, and it's gonna be a lot more driver friendly when I'm towing, which is what I want. So it's a lot different for me going from a lightweight setup in my F100 to a heavier setup in the crew cab, but they will work, and it's fully SFI certified, which is really rad. Very nice piece, and I've never ran one before, so we're gonna figure it all out together. We're super excited, and massive thank you to the guys over at McLeod. I'll put their tag up again, and definitely check it out in the description below. I run their clutches on everything, you guys see it. I changed the one in my F100 to a twin disc. That thing absolutely rips. So highly recommend their stuff. It works, it's awesome, it's badass. We're gonna go ahead and put everything together. Massive thank you to the guys over at McLeod once again. Put out an amazing clutch package for this thing. I cannot wait to tow my F100 behind this thing. Alright, I think we're finally ready to do something productive. is the behind the scenes that people crave, Marcelo.
No.
Yeah, give him the close up. You're not supposed to.
No, I don't like close up. No, don't give me no. It's okay. It's okay. There we go. Yes.
Oh no.
No. That's.
Why are you dropping bolts on my head?
Sir,
Hi.
you weren't supposed to do that. Now I gotta bend over further.
Now none of us can reach it.
Well, you should be more considerate.
Well, Ligma.
Sir, how many bolts have you dropped today?
Too many times.
Where's it at? Where's it at? Let's go
red.
find it together.
I need a wrench.
Okay.
I need a wrench. You're following me.
Alright, which size is it?
I don't like this peer pressure.
This isn't peer
No.
pressure. This is peer analysis.
No, I don't like it. This is not.
Oh,
great.
oh, open the drawer. Open the drawer. Open the draor. Put that wrench back. Put the other one back in the slot. That
Are
one.
you kidding?
Come on, dude. What do they say about a clean workplace?
You know what? I'm the one that cleans most of the time.
Alright, just finally set this thing in. We had the motor mounts backwards twice. Had to go get all new mount. Marcelo put the fixed mount in the wrong hole, so we fixed that. We were all back. But we got it right. Everything's in, everything lines up. We have an FE bolted back where it came out of. We're back to where we started, where we just pulled this out for a cracked oil pan. But while we're here, we fixed it and made it look better. So it looks great. Get this rag out of the way, see how bad I scratched it. I was trying my best. I don't really do the whole painted thing a lot. A lot of my cars are rusty. So that's why I was like trying my best to preserve the hard work that we have done and not scratch everything. But if we need to touch up paint it, they make paintbrushes, we'll be fine. I'll just mix up some base and clear real quick, dab it up, just touch it up. Here's my first engine. Oh, that looks good. And like, it doesn't take a lot, you guys. Think about the way you want it to look and make it happen. Paint goes a long ways, long ways. This March drive setup, this thing looks so badass. It looks so cool. It just sets everything off. Check this out though. This is how I'm gonna be able to sleep at night. I'm just gonna stare at, think about this, stare at it. Okay, now the moment of truth is, will the air cleaner that I bought actually fit? A feedback like that to where you won't see it. I'll sit something like that, something like that. The moment of truth. I eyeballed this more than anything I've eyeballed in a really long time. I hope it fits. I'm gonna be really upset if it doesn't. Oh, look at that gap, dude. Did you see that? Up top? Look at that. Less than a finger. Yeah, baby. That looks dang good, dude. This is wild looking. If you're anything like me, working in the shop every single day, having a good sound system to keep you going throughout the day is so crucial. And that is where the Soundcore BOOM 2 Plus comes in handy. These things have a massive 140 watt output, so you don't have to play your music on full blast anymore just to hear it. The BOOM 2 Plus uses Bass Up 2.0 technology. It features 1.6 times stronger the bass and 40 Hz ultra deep bass to make the bass lines and drums hit extra hard. And this thing is perfect for any pool party or lake or river party, because not only with a beat sync light show with this thing, it is also completely waterproof and it floats. The built-in handle design makes this thing perfect and easy to take anywhere you need. And if you don't want to hold it with your hands, they've even got a rad strap for you guys to go ahead and throw it over your shoulder and keep the party rolling. This thing is super awesome. I know we're gonna have this thing in the crew cab jamming in the front as well as the back. We stuck this thing in the cab and it fills the entire inside of the truck with a ton of deep bass as well as amazing sound. I know, myself included, do not have radios in a lot of my cars, and this is the perfect solution to have an amazing sound system in your ride. Don't forget to check the BOOM 2 Plus. I'll have it down in the description as well as the top pinned comment. I want to give you a massive thank you to Soundcore for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back into the crew cab. All right, so we got this thing pretty much bolted in. Everything looks good. After a little bit of confusion with the motor mounts and everything, we got everything good. Everything's all new, looks nice. I gotta put that guy in. Our dipstick broke, so we gotta fix it and put a new one in it. So we have this thing painted up, and then we're modifying a new dipstick to fit right now. Column's about to go in. Marcelo took the time to go ahead and fix that up. Thanks, buddy. What? That's a thumb, I promise. He's not flipping me out. And yeah, this thing looks brand new. So I spent a bunch of time taking this thing apart and rebuilding. If you already built these columns, they can definitely be tedious, but this thing came out really, really good. Got the all the new wiring in it. That came out really, really nice. We have a new steering coupler. That's all new. Everything was pretty much, I had that originally when I built the truck. Coming back from Arizona, I broke that. So I did put that in a while ago, but we did repaint it. So everything's all painted now. And the column all the way from top to bottom is pretty much brand new now and refurbished. So that's gonna go back together and go in. I'm still waiting on a steering wheel to show up at some point. So I need to get that figured out because I broke the last one that was in it because it was stuck to the shaft. We could not get it off, so we had to cut it off. And we were changing the column anyway. So if you didn't know, going from manual steering to a power steering is a totally different steering column. We found that out the hard way. So this is the power steering box. I already tossed and threw away the manual steering box, but it's a little bit longer right here where it mounts to the actual coupler. So you're gonna have to get a shorter steering shaft. So the power steering boxes on these trucks are not the same as the manual boxes. It does bolt up in the same location, but you're gonna have to change your steering column. I originally thought that you could just take a power steering box, slap it in, use the same column. That's not the case. So we ended up having to go all the way to ground zero and start completely over and go to a different column. But luckily Dave had one. I think he threw it away that day, huh? He literally like basically pulled it out of the dumpster and he's like, oh, here you go. So shout out to Dave for grabbing that for me. And then we've got this out, broke some bolts off. We got the bolts out. And this guy's gonna get a little cleanup refresh and then go back in. We're trying to like confine ourselves to not redo the entire interior, which is very, very difficult because I mean, come on, look at all the stuff we've already done. At this point, it's like, we're so close, it's right there, man. So inside, we're just kind of putting back what was already there. So we do have to wire in. This was my auxiliary key because I got this thing from Solomon with no keys. So we had to put this in Tennessee at Dylan's house. So that's coming out. We're putting the correct cylinder back in it. We still have to wire everything. The steering column wiring is not right. The ignition wiring isn't right. So we've got to start all over. And we even had to take the top of the transmission off to get the motor in the truck. So that's got to go back on. And just a bunch of things are going back on. So you can see over here, we've got the shifter and the top hat. That looks pretty much brand new. That's been all refurbed. So we went ahead and we figured, well, we're already here. We might as well do this. We're just going to pretty much each thing that we're touching, we'll redo it if we're touching it. Then it's not that hard to do. So we just clean it up, paint it, put it back in. So that's pretty much what we're doing right here. So the shifter looks pretty much brand new. Nothing too crazy, just a scuff and a shoot it all black. And then we'll screw the ball on. I'm gonna clean up the ball and make sure that it doesn't look all crappy anymore. Probably gonna try to polish it and then we'll slap this guy back on with some silicone and all new hardware. And then when Dave painted everything else, the tunnel's just sitting over here. You can see it's just a little bit dusty, but this we went ahead and sprayed, so it's already ready to go. So then over here, I've updated a really long list of crap that I have to do on it, and it's very, very long. So I just erased the old list and made a new one, and it's already longer than the first list that we started with. So there's a lot of stuff to do. So let's get into it. You know where you like mess up when you're making something on your computer and you type something wrong and you hit Control Z? I'm about to do that because that It's not okay. That is super lame. That sucks. That's one of those where like the floor was the insulation and it didn't look like it because it's all the same color. This literally looks like a rusty floor from the bottom, and it's just insulation. This needs an entire pan. That sucks. All right, well. All right, floor's fixed. Let's go get something to eat. All right, well, getting down in the interior of this thing, and pretty much the consensus that we came to, the firewall's trash, the floor's trash, the trans tunnel's trash, and whatever the broken screw over there is now trash. So, not looking too hot. And unfortunately, if I get over here, our heater box area is very heavily pitted. You can see right there, it's got very heavy pitting in it. And then coming over to this part of the trans tunnel, this is also very heavily pitted to the point to where you would cut this out and replace this. The driver's side actually surprisingly isn't terrible. There's a little bit of pitting on this area. Pretty much this general area is pretty much trash, but everything else is good. I mean, it's still in relatively one piece. There's a couple holes right here where it meets the cab mount. So realistically, I would probably be chopping this area out to redo it. And this section right here is pretty much completely gone. And so is that one, and then some others. But this part of the cab's great. So that's nice. The rear section is good. The part that's like literally flat sheet metal is perfect. So pretty much what we've established is this thing needs a firewall and this thing needs a floor. I'm not doing either of those right now. Absolutely not. After all the crap that I've done, we're not. No. Absolutely not. So we're gonna do this the not right way, the cheap way, and the quick way. So if you guys have watched years and years of my footage and my YouTube videos, I think back in 2018 or 19 I did the floor pans in my F100. If you wanna watch a very detailed, in-depth video on how to do that, I'll try to put a card up. You can check that out. I did it in like 115-degree heat outside, and it was brutal, but I did it. And I know how to do it, and I'm not gonna do it again because I know how much work it is. And realistically, that section of the firewall needs to be replaced. I might as well at that point do a bead rolled shade firewall on that section and then do this part of the cab mount all in one shot. So if you look underneath this thing, you can definitely see what we're working with here. So it's not really looking like it's in too hot a shape. And the spot up on top of the frame right here is the concerning spot for sure. So I would rather just do all that in one shot. And I think for what we're working with here, what's already there is fine. So what we're gonna basically do is do a patch panel and nothing too crazy. So I don't even think we're gonna weld it. We're just gonna basically riv nut it or rivet the whole thing in and then just seam it and be done, because I'm gonna chop this out probably in the next 2 years. So this will be a future Craig's problem for sure, unfortunately, but I don't really think it's worth taking all the time to chop all this out, because it's like, oh, you want to just do the floor pan? Well, what about the firewall? You know, you're just gonna leave that? I mean, realistically, I probably could for a good amount of time, but I mean, I could take a little baby screwdriver and put a hole in that. So that's all. And you can see it does have holes over there in this back corner section over here. So really, it's just not worth, you know, if I'm gonna do it, I want to do it all. So that is one of those things that I would rather just do in one shot. And so I think just making a quick band-aid fix so I don't have a legit hole in the floor, we'll at least take some metal pieces and we'll get something made to where it just covers the hole for now. And I'll fix it the correct way later. So right now what I have is I just have some metal prep. This is basically a metal etcher. So I am gonna put Heat Shield's DB skin on this thing just to kind of quiet it all down and just give it a rust neutralizer and a coating on everything and make it all consistent, just make it one color. The carpet made this thing smell horrendous, and I'm pretty positive that's house carpet based on like the material on the bottom of this. I'm like 90% sure this is house carpet. And all of the stuff that you see here is what created that classic old car smell. It's been rotting for 30 years. Every time I got in this truck, I always smelt it, no matter how many air fresheners or car bombs I put in it. I was super tired of it. So we're gonna be throwing all this stuff in the dumpster. And the only thing we will be reusing is the rear mat because it was in like exceptional shape somehow. So this guy is still in like perfect condition. We're just cleaning it. So once that's all clean, we'll slide that in front of the rear seat. But at least the DB skin will give us a nice consistent coating, basically from the top of the firewall all the way to the gas tank. We'll have one solid color. And then when we do our patch panels, we'll do it and we'll seal those up too. So it's at least just a good temporary fix. It's nice, it's quiet, it's watertight, it'll be good. I don't have to worry about rust falling everywhere, and I don't have to smell it more importantly. So let's get into it. So what we have here is a case of a classic destroyed floor that a lot of people have a problem with and not necessarily have the right tools or knowledge or even patience to do it the correct way. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a very quick, very basic, very easy floor patch to just make this functional. No, this is not forever. No, this is not the correct way to do it, but this will get you down the road. It'll get the floor sealed up. This is a very good example of having a million holes to where you can literally put your whole hand through it. So if we have something that bad, I'm going to show you guys how to fix it. So this is a basic piece of cardboard. What we're going to do is we're going to do a lap welded, not even a lap welded, we're going to do a lap piece of sheet metal plate cover that we are going to basically screw into the floor, and then we're going to seam seal it up afterwards just to seal everything. So what we have is just a nice straight piece that will sit on the contour of the floor, and then it'll wrap around and it will kind of bend up in the back right here. And what I'll do is I'll cut this entire piece out. I'll put it in my sheet metal brake because I have one of those. If you don't, use a couple bricks and a piece of wood and a hammer and bend it. And then we'll make that bend, put this thing in, and we'll start running sheet metal screws all the way around this thing, screw it into the floor, get it as flat as we can, get those two pieces of metal sandwiched as tight as I can until I get all the holes covered. And once they're covered, you can pull them out, you can pull the screws out, and you can weld up those holes if you want it to be more permanent. I don't. I'm gonna totally do a full firewall and a floor on this truck one day, but today is not that day. So I'm just gonna cover it and seal it up. We're gonna run those screws in it. I'm just gonna run a little bit of seam sealer around the edges like I did in the back of the cab, and we're gonna be done and put some paint on it and call it a day. That's all we're gonna do. Like I said, don't rip me into one in the comments. I do not want to hear it. This is not the right way to do it, but it's gonna be good enough for what we're doing right now. So let's just get this thing back together. Yeah. Look at that. Look at all these chickens, man. So that is gonna work beautifully. So you can see it's already fairly in the right position, which is good. So what I'm gonna do is take a ball peen hammer, and I'm going to beat the crud out of all the areas that don't fit and round and mushroom those out to where this thing will lay flat enough to where I can start running sheet metal screws all the way around it. And then at that point, you're gonna notice there is gaps, and where there's gaps, you can do two things. You make a relief cut. So let's say right here is a body line that's gonna be kind of a little bit of a gap. I'll slice it, I'll hammer it down, and it'll spread it, and I'll do sheet metal screws on both sides, seam seal it, and you're done. I'm gonna just kind of do it and show you guys after. Look at that. So structurally sound. Just trying to get the floor down a little bit right there. Or push the floor up from the bottom. I just need to make a patch here, patch there, seam it, throw carpet over it. You'll never know. Unless you crawl underneath it, then you're gonna know. Oh yeah, dude. Look at that. Money. Beautiful. That fits perfect. Look at that. Even the line lines up. That's crazy. Look at the amazing lighting. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's check this out. Not bad. That gets rid of 85% of what we were dealing with. I mean, nothing's going through it. What more do you want, right? So I'm gonna do this back corner section, cement, we'll come back when we're done. Oh yeah, 4th of July, woo!
While you're just standing.
Nice. That looks awesome, man. Look at how cool that looks. Woohoo! Alright, and that is what a 1 hour, non-welded, no crazy tools floor pan looks like. That came out badass. I'm happy with that. You can talk to me all you want in the comments. That works. That's gonna work beautifully. You can put a carpet in it. It's sealed. We got Tejas and Minnesota. Sealed in the floor, baby. Hell yeah. That's badass. We got a bunch of leftover metal from the bug when I did the wing. Now, we're gonna go and get some DB skin. Check this stuff out. Put some of the heat shield products, DB skin on this thing, all the way around. It'll finish up our little sealing job on this thing, and that'll basically be probably how we leave it for a little while. Do 2 coats of this, and maybe do a carpet one day. I don't really know, but yeah. Next thing.
Turn the vacuum back on.
Oh my god, it's like opening a can of pickles. Oh my god. Why is this so tight? This is literally like opening a can of pickles.
Oh yeah? Hey Craig, I thought you said you were running the gym.
Big gym guy can't.
Hey, you're sponsored by PB.
No, I got it!
Ah, yeah.
I got it! Ligma! Yeah! You and you can both Ligma.
I said, okay. Okay.
Yeah, look at that old dick.
Do you feel like Picasso right now, Marcelo?
I feel like Bob and Ross. That's what I feel like.
Getting the last bit of like peanut butter out or mayonnaise out or anything out. It's the ketchup bottle.
I made the great mistake of not putting the starter in before I put the motor in the truck. And unfortunately with these trucks, when you have a set of long tooth headers, you actually cannot get the starter out. That's the reason I had to smash the last set of headers. I'm not doing that on these. So I went ahead and lifted the motor back up, pulled the header out of the truck, and went ahead and put the starter back in it. This is a brand new starter from last year, so I know it's still good. I hope to God I never have to replace it because you literally have to lift the engine up to get these out. So yeah.
All right, guys. Well, our heat shield DB skin is all dry now. It came out absolutely awesome. Look at that. You can't even tell. Well, you can kind of tell that I fixed the floor over there, but we have a floor. That's perfect. And we even left the Massachusetts for the memes. So that's beautiful. I love this. This is coming out really good. So like I said, temporary doesn't really have to be a permanent solution here, but it'll work beautifully for what the truck's going to be used for. I'd say within 2 years, we'll probably have the cab off. I'll just strip this thing for paint and we might even do that sooner. Who knows? I just want to enjoy the thing and make sure I'm not literally getting water in the cab. So if it's not sealed perfectly on the bottom, I really don't care because I'm going to go back in there and fix it the right way later. You guys know damn well I can do metal work just fine, so I'm not too worried about it. So coming back over here, the next step is to get these ugly ass seats back in. So I'm going to go ahead and bench press this thing myself because no one's here to help me today. So I'm going to try to get this thing up into the cab without not only putting a hole in my arm, because everywhere on this is like a knife with all these little clips and things holding the back of this thing on. You can see that. That'll hurt real bad if I hit that. And then it's just awkward because the seats like to fold and all sorts of other weird things. So I'm gonna see if I can get both these in here, bolt them in, start working on the firewall cover and the steering column. And I know what you guys are thinking. You're probably yelling at the screen like, dude, you're doing all this work. Why would you not just put a carpet kit in it? Because you gotta find somewhere to stop. If I do a carpet, I'm gonna wanna do a million other things and seal the carpet perfectly. I don't care right now. I'm gonna go get some Amazon floor mats, throw them in there and be done. We will do the interior properly later. The one thing that I'm focused on is getting this damn seat in without destroying my back. So let's see how that goes. You're gonna wanna make sure you lift with your lower back only. Oh my, that's really heavy. Okay. This is the back seat, by the way. Well, it's the front that I put in the back because it's not as nearly in good shape. Oh, damn, I'm just gonna scratch the crap out of it. Beautiful. And how easy that was. Alright, I went ahead and I cleaned up the original, I guess floor mat is what this is, but this is specific to crew cabs, as you can see. So I slip it into its spot. It kind of just sits right in between the front and rear seat, and it has all the provisions for the trim still there. So I figured if I'm not going to run a carpet in the back, instead of just scratching at the floor, I will reuse this part of the floor mat. Nice. Alright, so one of the next things we're going to go ahead and put in from the guys over at Classic Industries, who carries all of the repop stuff for these trucks, is the firewall cover. Now, I just did this in my F100 because it's one of the things I lack doing, and if you have the column, you have the heater box out, the heater box especially, you need to put this in. It makes it significantly quieter and overall just a lot nicer because you don't see the painted firewall, or in my case, rusted. But it is coated now on the DB skin, so we're gonna go slide this thing in. It should be a relatively easy fit. You can see all the holes are already cut out. I just need to take a hot screwdriver and melt the hole for the heater to pop out on the actual heater core, and then we'll go ahead and we'll slide it right in. So everything else is in to the point to where all I gotta do is just slide that thing up there and then throw a couple bolts in it, and then I'll put the heater box back in the truck and we'll be ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this put in. You guys check out the link down in the description. Classic Industries, they have all the parts for these trucks. If you want a really good place to get everything in one shot, go check them out, classicindustries.com. I'll have it in the description. Alrighty guys, so everything seems to be coming together. So we got the floor in it, the interior is done. I went ahead and did a quick repaint on the dash and the column. We have that installed now. We learned a lot actually putting all this stuff in. So I guess I'll recap real quick. If you guys have a manual steering truck and you want to go to a power steering setup, there's the Bendix box and then there's the Saginaw box. So if you're a 69.5 and later, you have a Saginaw box. So actually on these trucks, right here underneath this, there's a motor mount bolt right here, and there's another one underneath the power steering box that you can barely see right there. And so that hole right there would have been the earlier style, so pre 69.5 and earlier, so 67 trucks would have had that. And so you would actually, if you had an FE and wanted to change over to a Saginaw box, which is this style, you would have had to change the motor mounts as well, which really sucks. Luckily I got lucky, this being a 69, this actually is a 69 truck technically, I got a later one, so I didn't have to do that. However, this box is 2 inches longer, therefore we had to change the steering shaft inside the column. We left the outside of the column the same, this is the same one, but the shaft we changed. And then the firewall plate on both sides as well as the dust boot are different. different. So you can see this one is the one for the manual steering, and I just replaced it and didn't realize it, but you can see these two bolts do not line up. So that's something we got to address and fix, but we're almost there. And then we went ahead and we put the booster in right here, and you can see it's awfully close, but it doesn't hit, actually. We've tested every single way and it still doesn't hit, which is really, really good. So yeah, this thing's finally coming together. The engine's in it. We're pretty much ready in the next video to wire it and fire it. So we're gonna be putting the fender wells on this thing and getting the last bit of plumbing and wiring done. Hopefully get this thing running and back on the road the next video. So I hope you guys went on to enjoy today's video. A ton went on in this video in one shot. Drop a like on it if you did enjoy. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're gonna be posting a lot of badass content like this in the future. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one with a crew cab. Later, guys.